Drake Maye takes to Twitter to announce, with the cool lighting, nice little like effects put on the photo, that he is going to remain a North Carolina Tar Heel. Huge significance for North Carolina, without a doubt. Drake Maye enters the season as one of the top quarterbacks in the sport in 2023. Huge impact on the transfer portal, as now those schools that are looking for quarterbacks, if you thought that Maye was going to be available, now you take him off the board. Now you start to look other places. Before we get to the Longo side of this, because Wisconsin fans, buckle up. Life's about to be real different than what you've gotten used to in terms of Wisconsin Badgers offensive football. What do we make about Drake Maye's announcement that he's going to be back at North Carolina next season?
Woo! Let's go. Come on.
Good day for the ACC. ACC boys get to celebrate. Jeff Brom is going to Louisville. Louisville was able to get him out of Purdue, and Drake Maye is not going to Alabama or Ohio State. Like that, star power has been solidified in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Conference, yes, but like at least they got star power.
Big news. There are two reasons why I'm on the show today. Because I got so much going on. I'm traveling to Philly for Army Navy. I had a bunch of contracts, trying to get stuff done at the house. But there were two reasons I wanted to come on. One, I thought about those raps that we got from all our listeners where they're putting up 8,000-9,000 minutes on Cover 3. I was like, I can't just take a day off. Like I got to prioritize being here for the people. And number two was Drake Maye coming back, because this is massive news for Carolina fans. And I know like they're dealing with some losses here too with the coach, but think about what this will do for recruiting. Think about what this will do for other players that might be considering a similar decision later. Hey, you can stay. You can stay. I have a take on this, because I know Mac put it out there early before the portal opened that 20 teams had reached out. I think this is like one of those things that it's untouchable. Like if people still come after Drake Maye, I almost hope I wish Carolina or somebody would put him on blast. Like, because I think they're still going to come. They're still probably going to come with offers. I mean, Jordan Addison was secured to Pitt supposedly, and they had deals lined up and they thought it was enough, and then he ends up bouncing. I don't think you see the similar thing happen with Drake Maye, but it's one thing to tamper when they're up in the air, and they're kind of now that he's said, no, I'm coming back, leave him alone. Leave him alone. Don't take our prized possession.
It's obviously huge for Carolina, as Danny just said. It's also pretty huge for the sport, right? If he had gone, let's focus in on the three teams that we think would have the money and the need and the prestige and the roster around him to actually maybe entice him to go. Not that they were reaching out, but just the obvious candidates if he was going to go somewhere. Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia. Mm-hmm. All three are losing their quarterbacks after this year. All three have pretty loaded rosters, even if Bama does need to retool its receiver room. If he goes to any of those teams, they're instantly the title favorite for next year. I think we can all agree, right? I mean, just you put Drake Maye on one of those squads, that means the other two squads do not have him. So it does really impact the balance of the sport. I was talking to a director of player personnel yesterday, and we were chatting. He's like, yeah, I think most of these good quarterbacks are going to get like $1 million for their final year. Like you got to give them enough to entice them not to go try to be a 6th or 7th round pick where the signing bonus is like $75K to maybe $200K, right? And like there's a lot of these quarterbacks that are worth more to their schools for the final year than they are to an NFL team as a 6th or 7th rounder in theory, because the money's not guaranteed in the NFL unless you make the roster, right? It's only the signing bonus is. So, from that perspective, but he said, with Drake Maye, I could see a team paying him like $7 million, and I wouldn't like fault them for doing that. I don't think he'd actually get that, but that's probably about the highest I could see them go for 1 year, because there's just the only risk is injury. There's no bust risk really, because the guy can already play, right? And like unlike giving, let's say, $11 million to the number 2 rated high school quarterback out there over 4 years, that has injury risk, but it doesn't have bust risk. That's why you see in baseball, like Verlander just got $86 million over 2 years. The only downside really is injury with him. The dude is proven. But I think it's just huge for the sport because it doesn't upset the balance of power within the sport, because Drake Maye is staying, at least right now.
I think it's good for North Carolina. I think it's good for Drake Maye. I don't know. It's good for the ACC. So congratulations to the three of you. You get something to cling to next year as the ACC fails to reach the college football playoff yet again.
That's a
Yeah.
bold, way too early take.
Where's the next take? Come on,
Yeah.
like where's the
No,
make
you know what?
good?
I'll give you guys some meat. If the ACC has a playoff team next year, it's going to be Florida State.
Yeah.
I don't think
I
it'll be
like that.
Clemson. Yeah.
You don't think Clemson with you don't think that going into next year, Jordan Travis proven, Drake Maye proven, Cade Klubnik not proven, but potential is there. Who's the best? Who goes into next season as the QB1 in the Atlantic Coast Conference?
I think it's got to be Jordan Travis.
Wait, if Drake Maye was not there, you mean?
No, right now, like is
It's Drake Maye.
Oh, it's Drake Maye.
Yeah. No,
So
it's
let me
Drake
ask
Maye.
you guys
I
something.
love Jordan Travis, but it's Drake Maye.
Me too. I love both of them, like sons. So,
Are you paying them? Are you donating to their NIL right now?
No. Here's my only I think you've seen Jordan Travis on a trajectory that is straight up, and it's been going that way, and it's been, I think he started off low and he silenced a lot of critics along the way, where I'm starting to see, all right, man, maybe he could carve a Jalen Hurts type of career in the NFL. Like, that's where I am with him, which is awesome. Are you guys concerned at all? And now you're listed as the biggest Drake Maye fan there was in the country. The last 3 games were not pretty. They downright ugly. I think it was 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions, and you saw a lot of more mistakes. You saw him get hit more, and guess what else? You saw better competition. Last year at this time, we saw Tyler Van Dyke have a season. This guy looked like a surefire number 1 overall pick. He looked like all ACC. Man, he could challenge. And Miami's going to win 9-10 games. Then what happens? Rhett Lashley, his offensive coordinator, the guy that he had a lot of success with, takes another job. He has a new system, a new coordinator, and Josh Gaddis. Things fall apart rapidly. And all of a sudden, where is Tyler Van Dyke? Is he, I don't think you'll see that type of drop off, but new system, new coordinator. I don't know. Maybe new system. Maybe they try to keep some continuity in the system, but that's why I would give Jordan Travis the edge. More stability in the program. You saw a team that has talent matched up against everybody else. They got to address that offensive line. They got to address the defense. It puts a lot of pressure on them. So I would say I would give the slight edge to Jordan Travis and put Drake Maye right behind him. Now, if you're talking NFL potential from what we've seen on 1, I think Drake Maye clearly has the higher upside.
Yeah,
35 touchdowns to 7 interceptions on the season is still, because you're right. Like 1 touchdown to 4 interceptions coming down the stretch, playing poorly against NC State's defense, playing poorly against Clemson's defense makes, being able to shred Virginia Tech and Pitt and Virginia makes it look a little bit less, competition should matter here. But
Jordan Travis also didn't play well against NC State's defense and also didn't play well against Wake's defense. So if you look at common opponents, I'm not really sure. Obviously, he was better against Clemson than Drake Maye was against Clemson. If they're on the open market right now, I'm very confident that Drake Maye gets double what Travis does if they both hit the portal today.
I think Danny's points are fair in that I don't think it's out of line to consider Jordan Travis ahead of Drake Maye. And I think it's very fair to question what the sophomore slump or the possibility of it will be going into next season with the new OC. That said, I think part of the difference, because I was the big Tyler Van Dyke guy last year, I think the biggest difference to me is that when Miami switched OCs, I feel like they went from something more quarterback friendly to less quarterback friendly with that coaching turnover. I don't think with Longo leaving, Mac Brown is going to replace him with a kind of a stodgier offense. I think they're probably going to go with a similar route and play that same style. So I don't know, but
they might not.
I don't know what they'll do.
There's a side of this where some of the defensive struggles, fair or not, are being laid at the feet of an offense and an offensive staff that they believe was not built to be able to give the defense a chance to be successful. And I would not be surprised if one route is to marry an offense that is going to not leave the defense as exposed, not create those super fast 3 and outs, not be in a position where like we saw North Carolina's offense at times, they'd hit the explosive plays, but the Tar Heels would turtle up and they would not be able to sustain drives, and they would send the defense right back on the field. And I'm curious to see, how they go with this, because I don't know if they're just going to copy and paste what Phil Longo was doing. And I think Drake Maye can be successful in pretty much any offense based on his skill.
I mean, I think Carolina's player development and defensive coaching is hot garbage. So
Yeah.
I don't care who they have on offense. Like their defensive numbers will look better if they play slower, but they won't actually be more efficient probably. Like if you look on a down-to-down or drive-to-drive basis, they need to fix the defensive coaching there. Because last year we got rid of Jay Bateman. He wasn't a fit, right? Guess what happens? The secondary is still terribly coached. They don't play coverage very well. They don't communicate very well. Their player development doesn't look very good. I think they have defensive coaching problems on that side of the ball. And I agree with you. Longo is about Longo. Longo is going to try to score points. That's what he's getting paid to do. He's trying to move up in the world. He wants to score points. I get that argument, but like they still need to get the defensive coaching fixed at Chapel Hill.
From a complimentary football standpoint, I understand the idea that the offense wasn't doing the defense enough favors. I get that. But you're going to blame your offense for being the elite unit on your team for your defensive struggles when A, you hired a defensive coordinator the first time from an option team and then paired him with that offense.
I did not say it was fair. I just said that
whoever is making the argument is who I'm talking to. So you're going to say that hiring Jay Bateman from an option team and then pairing him with that offense and like, I don't know why this isn't working out. It's the offense's fault. And then you get rid of him and you replace him with a guy who spent the last few years sitting in a TV studio to run your defense. And you're going to blame the offense, which was the only thing that was keeping you in games, for your defense being the problem.
I think
it's
tempo-free ratings
needs to be fixed.
I think it's friction among the coaching staff, not necessarily like fans laying blame. I think that there was just but
there was beef inside the defensive coaching staff last year. We heard that at AFCA. All the infighting they had.
This would be like me fighting with Bud because my picks are losing. Like it's Bud's fault. Bud's picking too many winners and it's making me look bad.
I mean, look, tempo free. So like let's toss out the argument that Longo goes too fast and that impacts the defense. Just on a per play basis, offense 10th, defense 105th in the country. Like fix your own house before you start talking about the offense if you're Carolina's defensive staff. Mm-hmm. And they just lost Grimes, right?
Yeah, I was going to say they are also among the top teams in the country in terms of number of players that have entered the transfer portal, and it is overwhelming on the defensive side of the ball. So they're starting over.
And Storm Duck's gone. I mean, like, I don't know if that's how big of a loss you think that is, but.
Well, so it is linebacker, a safety, defensive lineman, a cornerback, and a cornerback.
Mac's not lasting more than one more year there, right? Like it'll be like he's gone or retirement if they don't win something with Drake Maye. Because the recruiting's taking a drop now. Like I think people are like, okay, he's not turning these recruits into actual on-field results. We're not going to buy into this anymore. I don't think it ends well there.
Oof.
I don't know. Josh Downs is going to be a good NFL. Like he's had some NFL talent and turned it in there.
I agree, but I'm saying like turn it into wins, really.
Turn into wins.